The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched like a shimmering crystal bowl, its walls transparent, offering a breathtaking view of the stars beyond. Over 100 species filled their designated sections, each shaped for their needs, some breathing oxygen like humans, others requiring methane, sulfur compounds, or gases no human could survive. The diversity was staggering. Yet today, every delegate shared a single, unspoken tension. At the center podium stood Ambassador Zexathari of the Valkyrie Empire, for arms gesturing with an unsettling grace. His people, tall, blue-skinned, silver-eyed, were renowned across the galaxy for wisdom and memory. They had been council members for over 3,000 years. Honored representatives, Zexathari began, his voice resonating clearly through the universal translators. We are gathered today over a matter of urgent concern. 3 months prior, the Council welcomed a new species, humans from Earth. They had advanced faster than any had predicted in space travel and technology. But their history, it raised a dark unease that a holographic map floated above the podium, stars twinkling in 3 dimensions. Small colored dots marked territories of various species. A cluster of bright blue indicated human space, not large, yet expanding steadily. Only 400 years of spacefaring history. Yet in that short time, they had fought 17 species that declared war on them. A murmur spread through the hall. Zexathari's silver eyes swept over the delegates. Now, conflict is not unusual for a young civilization. Many encounter wars as they claim new worlds. But what followed is unprecedented. The hologram shifted, displaying a grim timeline. Each species that had attacked humans appeared, then vanished from existence. First, the Razor Claws of Proxima 7. They assaulted a human mining colony in 2387. Within 6 months, every Razor Claw was gone. Next, the Void Swimmers of the Nebula Ring destroyed a human exploration vessel. 3 months later, no Void Swimmer remained anywhere. Each name on the list represented millions or billions of lives erased entirely. The most alarming, Zexathari said, voice low, are the Silicon Lords of the Core Worlds, an ancient civilization nearly as old as my own. They controlled 47 systems, 12 billion strong. Humans colonized part of their territory. War broke out. 8 months later, not one Silicon Lord remained. Not in their home, not in exile, nowhere. A stunned silence fell over the council. Elder Morvac of the Gas Giant Collective, a shifting cloud of iridescent gases, finally spoke. How? Is this possible? Even our most advanced species cannot eradicate another completely. There are always survivors, hidden worlds, colonies. Zexathari's eyes glinted. And that is exactly what terrifies us. We've analyzed human tactics. Their technology is not far beyond ours. Their weapons, potent but not unmatched. Yet they achieve total annihilation. Representative Thais of the Reptilian Union hissed softly, scales bristling. Perhaps secret weapons tech they don't share? Perhaps, Zexathari admitted. Or perhaps it is something far darker. Something within their psychology. The holographic display flickered, showing human engagements in detail. Each initial attack against humans, small raids, territorial disputes, minor conflicts, would normally spark negotiation or limited retaliation. Humans responded differently. When the Razor Claws killed 300 miners, humans hunted every Razor Claw. When the Void Swimmers destroyed a single exploration vessel, humanity hunted the entire species. They do not distinguish between minor conflict and existential threat. If you strike them, they decide you must cease to exist. Council Member Nexus, an AI collective, tilted its sensor array. You are saying humans respond to attack with genocide? Zexathari's tone dropped further, forcing all to lean in. Not just retaliation. Humanity's response is absolute. Their logic is terrifyingly simple. Attack them, and your species is gone. Whispers erupted. Fear, disbelief, fascination. Some delegates recoiled. Others exchanged uneasy glances. Zexathari let the murmurs die down. And this is why we meet. Humans have joined the Council peacefully, but we must remember what they are capable of. 17 species discovered too late what happens when you make humanity angry. Representative Zolan of the Crystalline Confederacy, her body of translucent crystal shimmering, asked, "And what do you propose we do with this knowledge?" Zexathari met the gaze of every delegate he could. "We do nothing officially, yet we will watch, and we will never forget." Humanity had done nothing wrong under galactic law. They had defended themselves when attacked. Yet, Zexathari's warning hung like a shadow over the chamber. "Remember this lesson," he said. "In 3,000 years of this council, we have never seen a species like humanity. They are not cruel, not conquerors, not inherently evil, but they are utterly merciless to any who threaten them." His final words echoed through the silent hall. If you value your civilization, if you care for the continued existence of your species, never give humanity a reason to be angry. Because if you do, you will join the 17 others, and no one will be able to help you. As delegates filed out, many stole nervous glances toward the human section. The human representatives had listened without a flicker of emotion, their faces calm, unreadable. Somehow, that calm made them more terrifying than any holographic weapon display. Far from the council, in the war rooms of the Corac Hegemony, Supreme War Leader Grathel scoffed at the warnings. His massive horned form loomed over the holographic projection of human space, armor scarred from millennia of conquest. The Corac, giant rhinoceros-like beings with arms thick as tree trunks, had spent 3,000 years dominating their corner of the galaxy through sheer military might. 17 extinct species, Grathel rumbled to his generals. So what? Weak civilizations die. Humans? They probably use disease, poison, coward tricks. General Morak, second in command, shifted uneasily. War leader. Reports indicate humans may be more dangerous than they appear. Perhaps we should study them before striking. Grathel laughed, a sound like grinding stone against metal. Study them? Look at their space. 3 small systems. A handful of colonies. For centuries of expansion, we conquered more than that in a decade. The hologram zoomed in. Human colonies sparsely scattered, focused on farming, mining, and research. Their patrols were minimal, defensive ships few. Grathel's eyes gleamed. We are not primitive. We are the Hegemony. Civilizations with millions of years of development fall before us. Weapons that crack planets, fleets that blot out stars. If humans want to act dangerous, they will see what true power looks like. War General Vorix stepped forward, ceremonial armor clanking. Supreme War Leader. Your orders? Grathel studied the hologram. Their colonies are spread thin, defenseless. Harmony, New Eden, Paradise Point, perfect targets. We will crush them completely. Survivors who can work, enslave. The rest gone. When humans witness this, they will surrender without a fight. Morak hesitated. And if they fight back? Grathel's scarred face twisted with anticipation. Then we will crush them, as we have every other foolish species that opposed us. Their fleet? Exploration ships, cargo vessels. Our warships were built for war before their species left their first planet. Nothing they could do will stop us. Planning began immediately. The Corac had perfected intimidation warfare over millennia. Strike fast, strike hard, break the enemy's will. Most civilizations surrendered at the first demonstration of PowerPoint. 3 days later, the Corac fleets descended into human space like storms of iron. Hundreds of warships, from nimble fighters to colossal dreadnoughts, black as void, bristling with weapons and armor that no human craft could pierce. The first target, Harmony, a peaceful agricultural world supplying colonies throughout human space. Minimal defenses, desperate human messages begged for negotiation. Vorix ignored them. All settlements are to be destroyed. Survivors fit for labor, enslave. Kill the rest. The bombardment began at dawn. Cities melted to glass. Farmland burned to cinders. Human security ships attempted resistance, swatted aside like insects. Within 6 hours, Harmony was dead. Smoke and radiation choked the atmosphere. The same fate fell upon New Eden, a mining world, now shattered asteroids and Paradise Point, research station boiled to superheated steam. The Corac were thorough, merciless, confident in total victory. Grathel's massive form filled every human communication screen. Humans of Earth. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. You have spread lies, terrified other civilizations, deceived the galaxy. This ends now. Holograms displayed the burning colonies, enslaved survivors, scorched landscapes. 3 colonies gone. Your people dead or enslaved. This is the power of the Corac Hegemony, and only the beginning. Surrender your civilization, submit, and some may live as servants. Refuse, and we will do to your home world what we did to these colonies. The message ended with Corac fleets moving toward the inner human systems, Earth itself looming in their path. In Corac war rooms, the general celebrated. Humanity had not fought effectively. Their few defensive ships destroyed. It will be over within the week, Morak predicted. No species is foolish enough to resist when defeat is certain. Grathel nodded, pleased. Send word to the other council species. Let them know how the Corac solved the human problem. When the galaxy sees this, they will remember why we are the ultimate power. The fleets advanced deeper into human space, everything proceeding according to plan. The Corac were certain of victory. Humanity would surrender. The galaxy would tremble. Yet somewhere in the shadows, the seeds of a nightmare were already stirring. Humanity was not what the Corac believed. What the Corac could not see was the storm awakening behind their advancing fleets. No sensor they had could detect what was stirring deep within human space. They had no idea what their reckless attack had triggered in hidden facilities scattered across the galaxy. Lights blinked on that hadn't shone in over a century. Dormant machines stirred, their electronic eyes flickering awake. In the deepest vaults of human military installations, weapons long sealed were being unlocked, designed for a single purpose, to ensure that no enemy of humanity would ever threaten them again. The Corac believed they had claimed an easy victory against a weak species. In truth, they had unknowingly signed their own death warrant in Terra Station, humanity's primary military command center. Admiral Sarah Chun stood before a wall of glowing displays, showing the ruined colonies. Her face was calm, but her eyes held a cold, calculating edge that would have frozen Corac generals if they could see her. Around her, the command center hummed with precise, purposeful activity as personnel activated protocols that had not been used for 112 years. Confirm the casualties, Admiral Chun said quietly. Colonel Martinez, her aide, hesitated, trembling as he scrolled through the reports. Harmony Colony, 2.4 million dead, 50,000 enslaved. New Eden Mining Station, 800,000 dead, 15,000 enslaved. Paradise Point Research Facility, 150,000 dead, 3,000 enslaved. The Admiral nodded slowly, absorbing the scale of the destruction. Around the room, every officer moved in tense silence. They all knew what was coming. They had studied these protocols, but none had ever imagined they would be enacted. Admiral, Martinez whispered, voice tight. The Corac fleets are approaching the inner systems. Long-range sensors show the Sol system. They'll arrive in approximately 72 hours. Chun turned from the casualty reports and stepped to the center of the command room. Above her, a holographic display showed all of human space, red markers indicating Corac fleet positions. Hundreds of warships, tightly organized, moving with deadly confidence. Activate Protocol 7, she ordered, color drained from Martinez's face. Ma'am, are you certain? Protocol 7 has been classified as a last resort measure for over a century. Her voice cut through his hesitation like a sharpened blade. The Corac Hegemony has killed 3.5 million civilians, enslaved 68,000 of our people, and is moving to attack Earth itself. If this does not qualify for Protocol 7, nothing ever will. He swallowed, then placed his hand on the biometric scanner. entered his authorization code, and initiated the sequence. Across human space, automated systems roared to life in facilities so secret that most government officials didn't even know they existed. Machinery that had slept for decades began producing ships and weapons designed to make the Corac regret ever leaving their homeworlds. Chen opened a galaxy-wide communication channel. Her face appeared on screens in dozens of star systems. This is Admiral Sarah Chun, speaking under the authority of Emergency Protocol 7. Her voice rang cold and precise. Humanity is now at war with the Corac Hegemony. This is not a territorial dispute. This is not negotiation. This is an extinction-level response to an extinction-level threat. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. The Corac believe they have defeated us by destroying 3 colonies. They believe we will surrender when their fleets approach Earth. They are wrong. What they have done is remind us why we built the weapons we swore never to use again. Deep within asteroid belts, buried in gas giants, and in vaults across human space, machinery began to move. Mothballed production lines restarted, building ships unrecorded in any public database and weapons that violated treaties older than most Council species. All civilian populations evacuate to designated safe zones immediately, Chen commanded. All military personnel report to assigned positions. All construction facilities begin immediate production of cleaner-class vessels. The mention of cleaner-class ships sent a shiver through everyone listening. Humanity's most closely guarded secret. These vessels were designed with a single purpose. Nothing could survive their attack. In the Centauri shipyards. Massive construction bays long sealed opened, robotic workers emerging from storage, activating after decades of dormancy. Skeletal frames of new ships began to take shape, designs that seemed impossible, almost alien to conventional engineering. Chun moved to another console, opening a new communication channel, this one beyond human space. To all member species of the Galactic Council, she announced formally, yet with a steel edge that chilled even the most veteran officers, humanity is at war with the Corac Hegemony. All Council species are strongly advised to avoid Corac space for the next 6 months. Any ships found in that region may be destroyed without warning. Humanity cannot guarantee the precision of our weapons during combat operations. The message was polite, formal, and utterly terrifying. Humanity was warning the galaxy. Stay away, or risk being caught in what was coming. Meanwhile, Corac fleets pressed toward Earth, blissfully unaware of the awakening storm. Sensors picked up increased activity, but War General Vorix dismissed it. The humans are panicking, he reported. Evacuations, preparations, clearly preparing to surrender. Grathel grinned. Excellent. When we arrive at Earth, we issue our final demands. Surrender immediately, and perhaps half survive. Delay. An entire planet is ours. What the Corac did not understand. Human evacuations were not surrender. They were preparation. Civilians were moved to safety because the weapons about to be unleashed did not discriminate between friend and foe once deployed in deep space. The first cleaner-class ship rolled out of the Centauri shipyards. Its design was wrong. Hull surfaces bent light, strangely. Weapon ports emitted no detectable energy signatures. It seemed built by minds that thought differently about reality itself. Captain Lisa Wong took command, flanked by volunteers who had trained their entire careers for this moment. Quantum disruptor arrays online, reported the weapons officer. Reality anchor systems, operational, confirmed the science officer. Probability manipulation cores standing by, said the engineering officer. These were not normal ship systems. These were instruments of annihilation, built to make the Corac regret every action they had taken. These were not mere weapons. They were instruments that could rewrite the laws of physics in localized areas, convert matter to energy without conventional reactions, and render anything in their path non-existent. Admiral Chen monitored reports streaming in from across human space. 17 cleaner-class ships were under construction. The first 3 had already emerged from the shipyards, combat-ready. The Corac Hegemony had no inkling of what was coming. Admiral, Colonel Martinez spoke, a note of unease in his voice. New report. The Corac fleets will reach Earth orbit in 18 hours. Should we prepare the home defense systems? Chun shook her head, her voice as cold as the vacuum of space. No, Colonel. We will not defend Earth. We will teach the galaxy why 17 species have already gone extinct for attacking humanity. She turned to the main display, showing both Corac fleet positions and the locations of human cleaner ships. The Corac want to see what real power looks like, she said quietly. They're about to get their wish, but it will be the last thing they ever see. A communication channel opened directly to the advancing Corac forces. Chin's words were measured, yet lethal in their calm delivery. To the Corac Hegemony, you have made humanity angry. You killed our people. You enslaved our civilians. You threatened our home. In 18 hours, you will understand why no species that has done this to us still exists. Use this time to make peace with whatever gods you worship. The transmission ended. The Corac fleet continued its approach, confident in victory. Behind them, humanity's true military power was awakening from a long, patient slumber. The first anomaly appeared as ships under Vorac's command began disappearing from sensors. Not destroyed, not hit by weapons, but simply ceasing to exist. Report. Vorac roared at his communications officer. What happened to the third battle group? They were on sensors, sir. Then gone. No distress signals. No explosions. No debris. Just nothing. Before Vorac could respond, alarms blared across his flagship. On the main display, 3 vessels appeared. Human ships, unlike anything in Corac intelligence reports. Their shapes bent space around them, impossible to measure or focus on. Unknown human vessels, Vorac transmitted. You are heavily outnumbered. Surrender, and we will grant you quick deaths. Captain Lisa Wong's voice cut through the calm, unflinching. War General Vorac of the Corac Hegemony, you are guilty of genocide against human civilians. You have been sentenced to extinction. There will be no surrender. Vorac laughed, a sound like grinding metal, but it was hollow. 3 ships against my fleet? You are insane. Open fire. The Corac unleashed everything. Plasma cannons that could melt planetary crust, quantum torpedoes shattering asteroids, particle beams carving through steel hulls like paper. The surrounding space lit up with the concentrated firepower of an entire fleet. When the energy faded, the human ships were untouched. Not shields, not deflections, they were literally unaffected. Vorac whispered in disbelief. Impossible, no technology could withstand that. Captain Wong's voice returned, cutting coldly through the chaos. You misunderstand, War General. We're not using shields. We are using probability manipulation. In the reality bubble around our ships, the chance of your weapons causing damage has been reduced to 0. On Vorac's bridge, the science officer's face went pale. War General, their ships, they're not obeying normal physics. Our sensors cannot lock onto them. They exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Vorac felt the first icy touch of fear, but his pride screamed for action. All ships, ramming speed, he bellowed. If we cannot destroy them with weapons, we will crush them with hulls. The Corac fleet charged. Mountains of metal hurtled through space, dreadnoughts built like moving fortresses. Even if the humans could deflect energy fire, could they survive this? Captain Wong's tone remained detached. Weapons officer, activate the quantum disruptor arrays. Set them for molecular dissolution. The arrays fired, completely invisible to Corac sensors. Ships that barreled forward began disassembling at the atomic level. Molecular bonds failed. Hulls dissolved into subatomic particles, then into pure energy, dissipating harmlessly into the void. Vorac watched in horror as his fleet became clouds of shimmering light. His flagship, at the rear of the charge, offered a perfect view of the Annihilation. What are you? He stammered into comms that Wong's voice was steady, precise. We are humanity's answer to extinction-level threats. You declared war on our species. You killed our civilians. You enslaved our people. Did you really think we would respond with conventional weapons? Vorac's ship floated alone in the void, surrounded by fading energy clouds of the fleet he had commanded. More human vessels were now appearing throughout Corac space, phasing in and out of detection. Reports flooded in. Orbital platforms, fleets, installations, systematically erased. In the heart of Corac territory, Supreme War Leader Gradhall stood frozen in his command center, watching his empire vanish. "How many ships do they have?" he demanded. "Unknown, Supreme Leader," his aide replied, trembling. "Sensors detect at least 50, but they appear and disappear at will. There may be hundreds more we cannot detect." The main display shifted to Corac Prime, the homeworld. Planetary shields powered by the core, orbital defenses that had never been breached in 3 millennia. Chen's voice cut across the system, reaching every Corac simultaneously. "Supreme War Leader Gradhall, this is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Human Defense Force. Your military has been eliminated. Your fleets no longer exist. Your orbital installations have been reduced to atomic dust. You now have a choice. Surrender your species to humanity for judgment, or watch as we demonstrate what happens to civilizations that threaten our civilians. You have 10 minutes to decide." Gradhall looked around at the faces of his advisors. Warriors who had conquered hundreds of worlds now cowered like children. Outside the viewing ports, human ships positioned themselves with surgical precision around Corac Prime. How is this possible?" he whispered. "We are the greatest military power in the galaxy. We have weapons that crack planets, shields that stop anything." Chen's calm, deadly voice filled the comms. "You made the same mistake 17 other species made before you. You assumed because we appear peaceful, we are weak. You assumed because our public ships use conventional technology, we possess nothing more advanced. You underestimated humanity. That was your first and last mistake. You were wrong." On the display, one of the human cleaner-class ships moved closer to Corac Prime. The planet's massive defense grid opened fire. Thousands of orbital weapons platforms unleashed energy enough to sterilize a continent, but the ship absorbed every blast without visible effect. "Your weapons are impressive," Admiral Chen's voice continued, calm, cold. "But they operate within normal physical laws. Our cleaner ships exist partially outside those laws. They manipulate probability, alter quantum states, and rewrite local reality. We built them to ensure that no enemy of humanity could ever survive to threaten us again." Gradhall's dread grew. This was not a battle. It was an execution. "Wait," he transmitted desperately. "We can negotiate. We can pay reparations. Return your enslaved people." "War Leader," Chen replied evenly. "You killed 3.5 million human civilians. You enslaved 68,000 of our people. You threatened to destroy our home. There are no negotiations for species that commit genocide against humanity. There is only extinction." 10 minutes passed in silence. Across Corac space, billions waited for their fate. Military bases tried futilely to defend themselves against human vessels that could not be harmed. Civilian populations sent desperate pleas for mercy. None would be answered. When the timer ended, Chun gave the command that would permanently add the Corac Hegemony to humanity's long list of lessons for the galaxy. "All cleaner ships, begin the extinction protocol. Ensure that no trace of the Corac species remains anywhere." What followed was not a battle. It was the methodical, complete erasure of an entire civilization. 6 months later, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The Great Hall was packed with representatives from every known species, and even non-member civilizations had sent observers. Everyone wanted to understand what had happened in the void that had once been the Corac Hegemony. Ambassador Zexathari of the Valkyrie Empire stepped to the podium, his usual composure gone. His forearms trembled as he activated the holographic display. Where the Corac Hegemony had existed, there was now only empty black space dotted with sparse stars. "Honored representatives," he began, voice barely steady. "We have completed our investigation into the fate of the Corac Hegemony. The results are unlike anything we have ever documented in galactic history." The display scanned the former Corac space. 47 star systems, once teeming with life, were now completely sterile. Not just the planets, but every asteroid, every particle of matter tied to the Corac civilization had been erased. The human operation lasted 6 months, 2 days, and 14 hours, Zexathari continued. In that time, they eliminated not only the Corac military and government, but every member of the species. Survey teams found no survivors, no hidden colonies, no escapees. The total confirmed loss, 4.2 billion individuals. Every trace of Corac biology, every fragment of DNA has been eradicated. Even their technology and records have been reduced to basic elements. The hall was silent. Representatives from across the galaxy struggled to comprehend it. Representative Clix of the Arthropod Collective whispered, "How is such complete elimination possible?" The humans did not just destroy cities and fleets, Zexathari explained. They used weapons capable of erasing life at the molecular level, removing every trace of a civilization from existence. Corac Prime remains, but sterilized, not a single indication that life had ever existed there. Questions trembled on the lips of every delegate. Cultural artifacts? Technology? All gone, Zexathari confirmed. Every trace of their civilization erased. Then a recording of Admiral Sarah Chun appeared on the central display. Her presence made many representatives instinctively recoil. To the species of the Galactic Council, her voice began, calm, unflinching. Humanity clarifies its position regarding the former Corac hegemony. They attacked our civilians, enslaved our people, and threatened our home. This required a response, ensuring no species will ever repeat such a mistake. This was not punishment or revenge. It was a practical measure to guarantee human survival. Any species that commits genocide against humanity will receive the same response. The display detailed the scope of the operation. 4.2 billion individuals eliminated. 47 star systems sterilized. 6 months of systematic, comprehensive execution. We could have done it in 6 days if necessary, Chen's voice added, matter of fact. Finally, Chen appeared in person at the council. She walked to the podium, exuding calm authority. Honored representatives, she said, humanity bears no ill will. We are not conquerors. We are not aggressors. We are neighbors to those who treat us with respect. Trade with us, explore with us, share knowledge. But if you attack our civilians, enslave our people, or threaten our existence, you will join the 18 species that no longer exist. She paused. The choice is always yours. Ambassador Zexathari returned to the podium to formalize the resolution. By unanimous consent, under no circumstances shall any member species, allied civilization, or known entity initiate hostile action against humanity or its interests. Violation of this amendment will be considered civilizational suicide and result in immediate expulsion from a council. In the months that followed, a strange, uneasy peace settled across the galaxy. Trade with humanity flourished. Tributes and gifts arrived from civilizations eager to demonstrate goodwill. Even those who had once considered humanity minor powers now sought alliances, aware that a single mistake could erase their species from existence. Humanity had not sought conquest, but the galaxy had learned, once and for all, the cost of making them angry. Aftermath of humanity's awakening, the Great Hall of the Galactic Council was quiet, far quieter than it had ever been. Across the galaxy, civilizations paused in their daily lives to process what had happened. Trade routes were still open, research continued, but the unspoken knowledge hung like a shadow over every planet. Humanity was not to be challenged, in former Corac space. Fleets that once blotted out entire star systems no longer existed. Stars twinkled in serene silence. Planets drifted untouched, and nothing remained of a civilization that had once prided itself on conquest. Scholars and historians struggled to comprehend what had occurred. Entire libraries had been devoted to the Corac hegemony's history, but now those records were meaningless. There was nothing left to study. Across the council chambers, debates were hushed. Representatives spoke in cautious tones, careful not to anger a species that had proven it could eliminate entire civilizations. Trade treaties were re-examined, military alliances reconsidered. Caution is no longer optional, murmured council member this of the Reptilian Union. Every interaction with humans now carries consequences we cannot even calculate. Humanity itself moved quietly. Colonies across the stars buzzed with activity, not of aggression, but of normal life. Scientists returned to research stations. Farmers tended fields on distant agricultural worlds. Shipyards continued production, quietly building vessels that no species would ever see unless humanity chose to reveal them. Yet beneath the calm surface, the cleaner-class ships remained ready, sleeping giants in the void, a deterrent no species would dare ignore. Diplomats from every corner of the galaxy approached human envoys with new respect, sometimes fear, offering gifts, sharing technology, establishing communication lines. No council member dared bring up military power in discussions unless it was in praise of humanity's restraint. Wars were reconsidered. Past disputes were shelved. No one wanted to test the consequences. Even everyday life in distant systems carried the imprint of fear and reverence. Children on alien worlds learned the story of the humans not as conquerors, not as invaders, but as a warning, a civilization that would forgive nothing that threatened its people. Songs, art, and historical accounts of the Corac Hegemony's annihilation spread across cultures, not as entertainment, but as a lesson. And back in the depths of human space, Admiral Sarah-Chun walked through the corridors of Terra Station. She observed the ordinary. Officers discussing routine patrols, engineers reviewing system diagnostics, crews training for exercises. All of it normal. Yet beneath the surface, humanity had irrevocably changed the galaxy. No species could ever again believe peace with humans meant weakness. Chun paused at a viewport, gazing out at the stars. Somewhere beyond, countless civilizations recalculated their existence, their strategies, their understanding of life itself. And humanity, quiet but alert, waited, never aggressive, never vindictive, simply ready to in the new era. One truth resonated across the galaxy. To threaten humanity was to choose extinction. The stars themselves seemed to hum a silent warning, a cosmic reminder of what it meant to awaken the sleeping giant. And somewhere, far from the council halls and the empty Corac systems, humanity's light continued, steady, unyielding, and eternal.